into my utility room today and see how I'm reusing seed starting mix and supplies. Come on in. So here I have some seed starting trays from last year where the seeds either didn't sprout properly, didn't take off the way they should have, or they were set out on the deck and never got transplanted, so there's material left in them. And why would you want to reuse them? One, to save money. Two, because I live an hour from the nearest town and getting new supplies is a little tricky. Can't you just use them the way they are? Just break that soil up and use it? Well, I suppose you could, but there's a risk that there are fungus or insect eggs or different pathogens in there that you'd want to sterilize so that you can start your seeds. A seed comes with all of the nutrients in it that it needs to start a new seedling. It isn't until they start to develop their second set of leaves, their true leaves, that they need to draw on nutrients. So we can start in a sterile soil mix or a sterile starting mix that actually has no nutrients. Once they start to get their true leaves, then you start to fertilize. So for this, we're just going to reuse this old soil. There are a few ways you can sterilize the soil. One is to put it in a dish and pour boiling water over the top of it, cover it up and let that steam. The second is to moisten your soil and put it in the microwave. But because I have so much to do today, I have a quantity, I'm going to put mine in a roaster pan that I've lined with aluminum foil. If you had a tin foil pan, you could use that as well. I don't want any possible pathogens getting onto the enamel of my pan, so that's what the tin foil's for. This is going to go on my barbecue. Because this was out on my deck, it's got some leaf material and such in it. That's going to go into the composter. You don't want any chunks in your seed starting mix. Because these seeds will be sprouting out with tiny hair-like roots when they get started, you don't want them to be running into large chunks of material. So you're going to be pulling that out of your mix while whether it's freshly purchased or whether it's something you're reworking. You don't want these large chunks getting in the way. I also have this fabric planter pot that had a tomato on the deck. I'm going to throw that soil in there as well. Okay, there we go. I've got that filled up. I do have more soil, but I'm going to have to do this in batches. I'm going to take that tin foil. I made it larger than the container. I'm just going to take the tin foil and cover that soil. Let's go outside to the barbecue. So I've preheated my barbecue. It's higher than I needed it to be. We are in winter. I only want this to be between 200 and 300 for 20 to 30 minutes. There we go. I've got that set. I'm just going to set a timer in the house and I'll come back out in 25 minutes just to call it middle of the road. See, the temperature dropped quite dramatically when the lid was opened. So I have a digital candy thermometer here. Let's check the temperature of this earth that we've got in this bin. It should be 165 or higher. This is going to be a two-step process to clean these trays. I'm going to start with the domes. I'm going to use hot soapy water, and then I'm going to start with the trays. I'm starting with the domes because it's easy to see when they're dirty, and the water won't be all disgusting because there isn't much dirt on these. Just like washing dishes. I'm going to rinse the soap off. Now for the dirty stuff. Having a brush on hand to get into all the nooks and crannies is handy. So for the next phase of cleaning the trays, I'm going to use household bleach at 2 teaspoons per gallon or so. That's 4 liters. I'm going to let them soak in hot bleach water for a couple of minutes, and then we'll get back to see what that soil's doing. Okay, there we have it. They've had their soak, they've had their rinse, they've had their washing, all of the things that needed to be done. I'm just going to leave them there to drip dry. There we have it. We're almost to 165. I added an extra 10 minutes to the timer, and this has been now in for 35 minutes. And there, I call that good enough, I think. As it cools off, I'll leave it in the barbecue to, there we go, 165 or higher. I'll leave it in the barbecue to cool off, and I'll bring it in when I'm done. So there we have it. I've been cooking dirt. Now that I'm finished this, I'm going to let that cool, and I'll close off this video. The next video will be seed starting. And looking at the weather behind me, why would I even think about my garden at this time of year? I can't wait to get my hands in the dirt, that's why. Stick around for the next time, and hit that subscribe, like, share, all of that, and you'll be notified when the next video comes out for all the seed planting. It's herbs and green peppers first. See you next time.